Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and I'm here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, we're saving jobs, we're saving our community. Sometimes we might save a soul along the way, but that's okay too. Our mission is to build strong businesses in our community so we can put our people to work, and we do that with business development, job creation, and service. Welcome again to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and I join you every Friday at 10:30 a.m. We're about business development. We're about creating jobs. We're about creating opportunity. We're about expanding the economic base of our community. We're all about putting people to work. We're all about all things business. Marketing Pulpit show has been around now for about 10 years. That's a long time in TV and radio life. But when you're on a mission, when you have a purpose, when you're out to make some impact on your community, man, good things happen. And that has happened in the flesh right along here with the Marketing Pulpit TV show. Now, I can sit here and crow about all the good things that we've done, but you don't have to take my word for it. All you have to do is listen to this show or just go back to marketingpulpit.com and watch the show. Look at some of the past shows. Look at some of our guests. Look at our great co-hosts. Like today, we're going to have the wellologist, Candice Camille. Last week, we had the therapist, Wena. Week before that, we had Falasha Day, the accountant. And we bring in some of the best and most erudite guests in the world when it comes to business, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to law, when it comes to health, when it comes to all the things that make our community grow. We take a holistic approach here on the Marketing Pulpit TV show. And that is why we have been so successful and so enduring. You know what I was thinking the other day? I got a call yesterday from a young lady. She's a client of mine. And you know what I kept asking to myself? Now, she was probably in her 30s. I kept saying to myself, why is she calling me when everybody texts nowadays? Everybody texts, everybody DMs, everybody do practically everything except call. But then it dawned on me that we cannot take this cookie cutter approach when it comes to people that we have to interact with on a day-to-day basis. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. We have been so conditioned into believing that our way is the only way, it's my way or the highway, that we take this dogmatic, this one-size-fits-all approach in the area of communication. Now, marketing is always, most of the time, it's lumped into the area of marketing/communication because communication is so important. It is so pivotal when it comes to marketing success. So before I jump into my show today, I'm just going to give you a couple of quick pointers because, it happened because of this young lady who called me the other day, and I'm assuming because of her age that she was a texter or an emailer or a DMer. We can't make those assumptions when we're talking about our stakeholders. And our stakeholders are clients, vendors, suppliers, contractors, employees, government agencies, nonprofits, the community. When we're dealing with our stakeholders, we have to take a more nuanced approach when it comes to communication. Because there are people who are fast-paced. There are people who are slow-paced. All right, let that sink in for a minute. Some people just want to get you off the phone and out of the way. Other folks want to chit-chat for a little while. They want to ask you about your baby. They want to ask you about how's the weather, how's the pandemic treating you. So you got to give those people a little time. Okay, but the folks who want to get off the phone, you can't be sitting there talking about you got your oil change this morning. They ain't trying to hear that. Okay, then you have the people-oriented versus task-oriented. You have to know the difference. The people-oriented folks want to talk to people. They want to chummy it up. But then you have the task-oriented. They're all about the facts, the figures, dots, I's, cross T's. They ain't want to hear that, okay? And like the young lady who I I made an assumption, there are the high-tech and the low-tech people. Some folks would not pick up the phone if it had a $1,000 bill attached to it. They want nothing to do with the phone. They want a DM. They want to text, okay? You got to understand that. And then there are some folks, I don't care how many times you tell them, email me, text me, do anything. You saying yourself you're not a phone person, but they are. Telling people you're missing opportunities if you're making these assumptions that everybody wants to communicate that you want to the way that you want to communicate. Think about the customer, okay, and think about yourself. You're trying to call somebody and they won't pick up the phone if you're a phone person. Eventually, you're going to get angry and you're going to find somebody who actually is a phone person to give that money to. So anyway, I had this thought this morning because of this incident that happened yesterday. Young lady called me. I made the assumption that she was not a phone person when indeed she was. And so going forward, and I want you to do the same, think about when you're communicating with people, make sure you are communicating with them the way that they can relate to you. And you're going to see some amazing things happen. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I am Robert Gatewood, your host. I am here every Friday at 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. I've been doing it for 10 years now. Got a great show lined up today. We're going to have Candice, the wellologist, coming on in a little bit. She's been around with me for a long time. I mean, very sharp young lady. She's going to talk about, man, she got a really interesting topic today. She's telling me that, matter of fact, I'm not going to try to get into it too much, but what she's saying something along the line that repetition is the mother of change. Let me marinate on that for a minute, because I thought repetition was the antithesis of change. But anyway, she's going to beg to differ. So that's coming up in a few moments. Also, we're going to have attorney Bradley Thomas, very sharp young man. He's an intellectual property attorney operating in the D.C. area. And he's going to talk about good trouble. Y'all remember Brother John Lewis, who passed away this year? Well, good trouble is this time going to be marching to the polls on October 27 here in the D.C. area. We have an election coming up in a couple of weeks. Well, less than about a week and some change now. And so they're trying to drive people to the polls, and he's going to be coming on later on in the show. And so we got a great show lined up. Folks, while you're sitting there, I want you to do this. Go to marketingpulpit.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have Instagram, go to Instagram and follow Marketing Pulpit. If you have Facebook, go to Facebook, follow Marketing Pulpit. And if you have Twitter, go to Twitter and follow Marketing Pulpit, because you don't want to miss this information. We bring this every week, and so we remind people. We send out an announcement every week, letting people know what the show is going to be about, when it's coming, and so forth. And we've added a new layer of technology now that you can watch the Marketing Pulpit TV show right on the homepage of marketingpulpit.com. So Marketing Pulpit is on the move. I'd like to thank our sponsors too. The sponsors just rolling in. We have B&B Cleaning Services. They joined the Marketing Pulpit. Glad to have them. Mr. Rayford Brown, sharp brother. Man, he puts on his mask. He gets out his, that looks like a hazmat suit. He comes out to your house, and all that COVID stuff and all those folks who've been sitting around for the last 3 months haven't had the house clean, then you need to call him up and let him go ahead and come in there and clean that house for you. And you'll see their ad in a few moments. And if you don't get the information, go to marketingpulpit.com. Or you can call my office. My company is Gatewood Marketing and Web, and we are 301-839-2836. Or go to marketingpulpit.com. We also have L. Riggs and Associates. Matter of fact, Leonard Riggs, he was on the show last week. Very sharp young brother. And he is actually inspiring and he's hiring. This guy, he sells final expenses life insurance. And their business is booming, jumping off the charts. And he needs agents. Some of these folks are making $500 a day. I kind of slid in my resume under the door. So he's like, hey, bro, look, hook a brother up here. But anyway, this is a brother. You want to talk to him, L. Riggs and Associates. Go to their website, lriggsandassociates.com. Also, BLE Executive Suites. They're our sponsor as well. They've been sponsoring us now for about 10 years. That's Miss Bernadette Clay and Company. Great group of people. And of course, the 98.6 band. Great band of people. And you will see their ads running throughout the show. And later in the show, I'm going to talk about, you got to hear this. Who is your competition? When I first started my company, I took this bad advice from somebody. They said, don't worry about the competition. You need to have this funnel approach. Just look in front of you. Don't worry about the person's running beside you, like when you're doing that relay race. Well, this is not quite the same as a relay race because in the relay race, you know who's running against you. You can look to the right, you can look to the left, you know who's running against you. But in the competition world of business, you don't even know who's in the race because most small businesses are playing checkers in a game of chess. Let me repeat that. In that relay race, you can look to the right, you can look to the left. Sometimes you can look behind you, look in front of you, and you see who is competing against you. You know exactly who's running against you. But in the world of competition, one of the biggest challenges and the undoing of so many small companies is that they don't know who the heck the competition is. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you have as your strategy, if you built your business model on the low price strategy, you are in for a world of hurt. Unless you hear this sermon I'm going to talk about later on. I'm going to repeat that. If you are building your business model on a lowest price strategy, you are in for some heartache. Now, I'm not saying you can't use the low price strategy as part of your overall strategy. But it goes back to that first statement I made. If you don't know who your competition is, that low price strategy gonna jump up and bite you, and then you know what? Because I'm gonna tell you about something called the freedom to abandon the market and something called lost leadership. If you're not familiar with those two terms and you're out here trying to run a business, particularly if you're a small business and you think you can outprice somebody, tell you something, folks. That's why you got to listen to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. Because let me tell you, I spent about 25 years in corporate America. I've been the president of corporations back in the 1980s. I was president of a company called Telegrocery. We were one of the first home delivery supermarkets in the country. So Uber and all these guys, they have nothing on me. Okay. I was also the senior vice president of marketing and business development at Diet to Go, an international food company. Right now, I'm currently president in Gatewood Marketing, president and CEO of Gatewood Marketing and Web. I teach marketing, business development, social media, networking at Prince George's Community College. And I'm also a consultant for the Small Business Administration. And what I learned during that time about pricing, about competition, and let me tell you, the small companies that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, they have only a superficial understanding of how competition and pricing works. So what I'm doing, I'm going to share this information that I've acquired over these years with you, the small businesses, to help you compete. I am so tired of watching these small businesses fold from lack of knowledge, not understanding how the business world works, being afraid to ask, being afraid to invest in advertising and marketing because you see it as an expense and not an investment. So what I've done, first thing I did, I started this radio show because I know people are not going to invest in something they don't understand. And that's been the albatross around the neck of many small companies. They cannot invest in marketing and advertising if they don't understand it. And for everybody who's looking for a new term to float around, we call this nurturing. When you're building a business, you have to do some nurturing. If you have one of those businesses that people don't understand, you have to nurture them. You better get you a newsletter. You better do some workshops. You better do a podcast. You better do something to let people understand how this product works. I can't buy it if I don't understand it. Let me get off this pulpit for a minute. See, y'all done got my robe on and got me up here moonwalking and I see my great co-host over there in the waiting room. She disappeared on me, but I see she's back. I can't wait to get her on the screen. Candice Camille. Well, you talking about somebody who understands marketing. Now, this lady, she has this holistic approach. That's what I like about her. When I say holistic, that means all encompassing. We're not one dimensional. We look at the big picture. And she is a marketer. She's a wellness person. She's a business person. She's an inspirational person. She checks off so many boxes. That's why I am honored and pleased to have her as my co-host on the fourth Friday of the month. Folks, welcome to the show. Candice Camille, the wellologist. Good morning, Candice.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Yes, we
Girl,
got to
go ahead.
tell you, but you just got to roll with it. How's everybody doing this morning?
Yeah, we are rolling with it. We are rolling with it. Glad to see you again, as always. Every time I see you, you're aging backwards. I got to get that pill, whatever you're taking. I need to get me some.
That's the thing, right? There's no pill. And once we get that, we will understand better that there's no pill. There's just, I guess, to just sum it all up and to get a real deep, real early, it's just being. It's just the nature of your being. That's
Hmm.
basically what it is. Yeah.
But you know what, Candace? Hey, we'll do this quickly before we get into, because I got so much questions for you. You gave me this theme the other day. I woke up this morning. I said, "Now what the? She got to break this down for me. I got you. I thought I was smart. I got my MBA degree. I had run businesses. Candace do this theme on me. I'm here to be like I had to get out my little test tube. Had to put a white coat on. Had my little mice running through the treadmill. Why don't you introduce yourself quickly to the audience, to the one or two folks who have not heard of Candace Camille, the wellologist, please?
Oh man, how's everybody doing? I'm Candice Camille, the Philologist, CEO of Candice Camille Enterprises, founder of Plank Talk Nation, where we are a nation of elevation, but also founder of the Sexy Fit and Well movement, where I teach women to become well through meals, mindset, and movement, because that's what it's all about. It's about being well in order for you to do your business, in order for you to be better in your relationships, in order for you to be better in your bank. So just like Robert said, it's a strict holistic approach, because when you're out of order, I believe, especially as the wellologist and a business owner myself, that when you are out of order 9 times out of 10, everything else in your life will be out of order. But when you can start just being the best version of you, then you can go into being better inside your relationships, your business, and of course, is why we're all in business. We'll like to say, because I want to make somebody change. I want to help them change. I want them to be better. We all get up on our pulpit, but at the end of the day, we all in business because we want to make some money. Somebody needs to be selling stuff.
Amen. Amen. I'm turning back up in here. Hey, hey, I want to say hello to the folks tuning in on Facebook and Twitter and the YouTube. I see Brother Hop. That's a young man out there, man. That young dude. I love these young folks, man. We old heads get out here, we be jumping and carrying on with it. These young folks be listening, boy, and they do a little pushback too. They ain't gonna jump on everything you say nowadays. So, Brother Hop, glad to see you this morning. See Brother Leon down in North Carolina. He's out there trying to take folks to the polls. Bless his heart. Thank you, Brother Leon. He's also has his show every Wednesday, Brothers for Real. We have the brother. We talk about real issues. I see Marlo. Good morning, Marlo. And I see Marsha out of Texas. She said, yes, indeed, such a great show and a strong leader. Wait, she must be talking about Marsha. I mean, she must be talking about Candice. She can't be talking about me, but thank you anyway for the thought. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the show. I was on my pulpit earlier. I was talking about what I'm going to talk about later on, competition. And also, we're going to have brother Bradley Thomas, the attorney. He's going to talk about good trouble and march to the polls. They have an event coming up on October 27th, and he's going to talk about that. We got an election coming up in a few weeks, so we're going to talk about not necessarily who wants you to vote for, because when we get into that, then I'm going to tell you a little secret about Facebook. Yes, so anybody don't think I'm over here. I hide from the issues. But if you get on Facebook and like we post this show on Facebook, if I get on here and start talking about supporting one candidate over the other, they will actually block your ad when you try to run it. They're going to say, look, you fall into the category of an election or an endorsement, and then all this good information I'm trying to get out here that Candice has, that I have, that Bradley has, we can't blast it to the millions of folks we want to get it to. So we can talk in code like everybody else, okay? We still gonna get our message out, but we just can't come out here and make this a political show because we are a business show. But you know who I'm talking about? Wink, wink. So,
Yeah,
hey, so thank.
you gotta be careful these days, especially with Facebook. So much has changed, or the algorithm has
Oh
changed.
my God.
They got the police out here. I call it the Facebook police that's out here. But at the end of the day, I believe because I've had some issues with my own ads and things, and the things that they are trying not to let through, or what they think is salacious, and all the things that's coming in as far as it. So even for the old adage goes that you have to pay to play. No, you have to play by their rules if you want to play on their platform, and that's pretty much what they're telling you. Okay, there's such a thing as that your money. Okay, all money is not good money as far as they're concerned, because at the end of the day, they're the one that's throwing down the gauntlet. If you want to be here, you have to play by our rules, and you got to figure out what those rules are, who knows those rules, so you can continue to play and still get your message and everything across that you actually want. See, because a lot of times I don't know how to do this crap. So I'm like, okay, I need to find somebody that says, they think sexy is something different than what it is. What do I need to put here versus so I can still get my message out and play on this platform? So you have to find somebody that know how to do it and know how to play on their platform, because that's what it's all about. And still stay within your core values and your message. Only if you want to play here. If you don't want to play here, they're basically telling you, all right, go kick rocks somewhere and get up on out of here. It's up
That's
to
it.
you.
Candice, you summed it up perfectly. And so that's why I say to folks, look, we don't own this platform. We're on it, but the rule, you have to make the rules. But see, we're smart though. I watch these talk shows, and I watch how folks can get their message out, and they do it in code in a way that they can get through the filters and that and the other. We're pretty smart too, folks. We weren't born yesterday, and I know I wasn't. I've been in this media world most of my life. And so when you own a platform, you have to find a way to get your message out in spite of the rules. And so thank you again for tuning in. And I'm going to have brother Thomas, Bradley Thomas. He's over there he's over there warming up. He said we're having too much fun over here, and he's telling folks, look, I'm supposed to be a stuffed shirt. I'm supposed to be this carpet type guy. I'm destroying that myth of what a stuffed shirt is supposed to be like. But that's been my whole life though. I do bend the rules in a good way.
I just want to interrupt you because when you hear the stuffed shirt, but I'm looking like in your background and you're like in outer space. So like I just have to say the two don't even compute, don't even match up. Listen, y'all, when y'all see him in his spaceship today, when you're talking about what's the myth and what are you supposed to be like, I think that's the problem that we have that there's a specific way that you're supposed to be other than yourself. That's an interesting topic in terms of how you're supposed to be in business. Everybody's going to tell you what you should, what you're supposed to do, but at the end of the day, if your stuffed shirt is who you are, then you stuff in that shirt. But if you're in outer space, then that's where you need to go. Don't let anybody take you out of your realm, right? So stuffed shirt or not, I see a shirt just in outer space, and when you're in outer space, the world is just open up, it's your oyster. So go for
Out
it.
of out of this world, out of this world. Hey, folks, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about. I'm just gonna tease you again now, because I told you I had to get out my test tube and my protractor. And Candice says repetition is the mother of change. Now, all my life, I was taught that repetition is pretty much the antithesis of change. She's telling me I need to re-examine that. And so I'm not going to try to explain. I'm going to let her explain. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to sit back, cross my arms, and say, let her dig herself out of this hole. Candice, hang on a second. We're going to come back in a minute. I'm also bringing have Bradley Thomas to join us also because I want him to. I might need some help on this one, Folks, you're listening to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood. I have my special co-host, Candice Camille, the wellologist, with me. Coming up also after the break, we're going to bring in attorney Bradley Thomas. He's trying to stir some good trouble over there. And also, when I thank our sponsors, and you'll see some of those great sponsors as we go into the break. Marketing Pulpit, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back out.
Rayford Lee Brown Sr. I am the owner and founder of B&B Cleaning Services, LLC. We are a janitorial floor cleaning and property maintenance business.
All right, we are back. Thanks again for our sponsors, B&B Cleaning Service, Mr. Rayford Brown, and L. Riggs and Associates. Lenny Riggs, this guy is hiring people, paying. He said they make up to $500 a day. So if you're out there looking for a pivot to change your career, if you've got into one of those industries that people are firing and laying people off, then give brother a call, and we'll put that information also on the Marketing Pulpit website. Make sure that you can get a hold of them and all of our sponsors. We're just so glad to have people who see our vision and are willing to put their money where their mouth is. They say, look, we're not just going to sit back and talk and complain. We want to see these companies succeed. We want to see our people build this economic foundation so that we can get out of some of these holes that we're in and stop being at the last. We like the last on all the good stuff and the first on all the bad stuff, as Candice is going to tell us about, especially when it comes to our health. But we can fix it because she says repetition is the mother of change. Let me get my calculator out here. Repetition. I'm gonna bring Bradley in. I'm sorry, kid. I gotta need some help. I need some help on this. I'm gonna bring Bradley in. My special guest for the day, Bradley Thomas. Hey, good morning, Bradley.
Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Candice.
Hey, Bradley.
Hey,
How you doing? How you
Bradley,
doing?
we have a uniform today, Bradley. What's going on there?
That's right.
Listen, I did not get the memo, and I go off anyway. I would change it up no matter what. So.
Well, we need a flower in between the two thorns anyway, so you know.
Hey, pick yourself over there.
Speaking my language over here. Good morning, Bradley. How you doing?
I'm great.
Hey, Bradley, quickly introduce yourself before we jump into Candice's story here.
All right. Well, I'm Bradley Thomas. I'm an attorney in the D.C. metropolitan area, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. And but I'm really here to talk about voting and the necessity of getting on the ball and getting our vote on for this election cycle.
All right.
That's kind of why I'm here today.
All right, we're going to jump into that in a minute. I just needed some little help here because Candice about to jump off on this story about how repetition is the mother of change. I also want to say thank you to everybody tuning in online. Hey there, Debo and Bowden. Good morning. She said hello to everybody. Everybody's tuning in on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can go to marketingpulpit.com and listen to the show. See the show right on the homepage. I know in the past, and we made it a little difficult. You had to go search and Google and send out all these crazy links. Well, now you can go to marketingpulpit.com and it's right there on the homepage. You don't have to go anywhere. So that's some of the technology we've been able to inject over the past few months. And, like I said, man, COVID has been bad, but it has been good in some ways. We have seen people make monumental steps forward in their businesses, in their distribution channels, in their strategies and reaching out to new audience, bringing in new stakeholders. So, folks, we can cry about this pandemic, or we can get out here and make some pivotal change. Like somebody said, repetition is the mother of change. Welcome again, Candice. Won't you just hop right in here? Get us out of our mystery over here.
I absolutely love that hot topic, but at the end of the day, it's all about perception. Even in this pandemic, it's about perception, because before you can even get to the repetition of the things that you must have to change, there's always three words that come to mind when we think about it, right? So you have to decide if you're a transient. Now, we know what transient means, right? So if you don't, that means you're rocking back and forth. You're never in one place at one time. You're not doing the same thing at the same time. You just keep doing something. You're not sure exactly what it is, but you don't think it works. So you jump to the next and you jump to the next. You don't stay in one place. I remember when I was homeless, they used to call us transients because we never stayed in the same place at the same time. We were always moving, right? But then you have to get over into the transitional stage, right? So at some point, you have to go from doing something and transition into something that's going to work. Like, what is it that you have that's going to work for you so you can transition into your transformation? But now that brings me back to, I want to talk about repetition. How do you really, really, really transform? Like, how do you transform your business? How do you transform your body? How do you transform your bank? You got to keep repeating something. You got to be consistent, because you're just talking about repetition. It's just another word of saying, listen, you guys need to be consistent with what it is that you want to change. See, because if you don't keep at it, if you don't keep doing it, you can't change it. If I'm a world contender still, even in this pandemic, of going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. But because the pandemic came, I wasn't able to work with a trainer. But that doesn't mean I continue to do the things that I've learned from him on my own. So when we get back out into that world, right, for all the repetitions that I've done in this 7 to 8 months, I'm going to be ready, or in a better space for when I get back to my training with my trainer. So if you want to do something, if you want to change something, you got to repeat. My clients ask me daily, especially in the movement platform, how often do I have to do this? You have to do it till you get the result that you want. So you have to ask yourself, are you ready to invest that time in those repetitions to get at the level that you want results? So if you want to learn something differently, if you want to do something, if you want to be on the top of your game, you got to do it again. You got to do it again. And you got to do it again until the change appears. See, we stop too soon, Robert. Would you agree with that? We stop.
Absolutely.
Well,
Candice, you are, I was when I heard your topic, I was saying to myself, I think I know where she's going. And you are going exactly because that you are nailing it, because I've seen it before. I've seen it pre-pandemic. I've seen it during the pandemic, and I'm sure we're going to see some of it after. People, they're trying to move from one place to the other, but they're not being consistent enough. When you jumping all over the place, you're not going anywhere. Nothing changes.
No, but if you don't finish now, you can't. If you don't finish what you're doing now, how can you possibly move? So at the end of the thing, so we have all these loose ends, not tied up. They're just over the wall, just like my hair, like just tied up. You got these loose ends everywhere. And it's like, until you tie them up, bring them in and curl it in tight, you're not going to get to your next. So you have to ask yourself, we come up with these nice sayings and these nice phrases, especially for me, I'm a wordsmith, right? My book is about words that's going to change your life, and let your word do the work. But at the end of the day, you have to be actually doing the work. Zig Ziglar, said this, but it was a Latin proverb long before Zig Ziglar said that repetition is the mother of all learning.
Because I was taking.
In order to get to something, you have to learn it and you have to do it and you have to do it again, do it again. So when we're talking about, especially in the health perspective for the body, it's a learning tool. So till you get to the best version of you, that's the question I would ask you, Robert. Are you at your best, right? Are you at your best, Robert?
Heck no. I want to be. Hey, look, I want to be. I wish I were, but
No,
I know I'm not.
don't wish for it, work for it. So look. But one of the things, a lot of us think that we at your best, and thank you for that answer, because that's just a honest answer. But a lot of times we think we're at our best. And what I want to say to you, that better is always available. When you think you at your best, better is always available. And in order to keep going, because you don't know what your best is, because like you said, in this dimension, we're not done yet. So you owe it to yourself to keep going, keep striving so you can transform into that better version. But my better version of me will be the one that I leave here. So once I'm gone from here, like I've crossed all the way through this dimension, the best version of me is going to be left here so somebody else will follow. So as you're continuing, your journey or whatever it is that you're doing, and I got my emotional mastery hat on here today because now I'm talking about mental and psychological stuff when you're talking about the things that you have to do in order to be your best self in your body. So again, you want to be better in your body, then you definitely want to see me. No ands, no ifs, no buts. I know how to do this. I tell folks all the time, I'm the best outside coach in the world because that's what I think, right? I'm the best outside coach in the world. So if you want to change the way that you view your body, especially if you get butterball ass naked in front of the mirror and you don't like what you're seeing, then you need to call me. You need to text me. You need to DM me so I can actually let your reflection that you're looking at give you some direction, because that's what it is. We need a little direction. So if you're looking at yourself and you don't like what it is, then you can't get there by yourself. Then you're going to need somebody to help you get there, no matter in your body, your business, or building your bank.
Girl, let me ask you. I got to throw this in here. And I like this. Like I said, we do take this holistic approach, but I deal with business owners, as you know, on a day-to-day basis. I mean, my schedule is just full of people, but I keep hearing people. They're like, well, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to go to the gym. I've got to eat my lunch at my desk because I don't have time to go out and pick up a little sunshine. I'm catching the elevator. I'm walking, catching the elevator. I don't take the stairs because I'm all about business. And one of the things I've heard you say repeatedly, you're not gonna have much of a business if you're not taking care of that body. That's why I like your overarching theme, the business of your body. Break that down again for people. People need to hear it again.
But first, let's just talk about priorities. When you talk about it, is that making money is your priority. And one of the things about it, that you're capping yourself at that priority, because if you don't eat correctly, if you don't sleep correctly, if you don't move your body correctly, you're not at the top of your game, that you're not American. So even if you're at that, I'm making $1 million a year, and it sounds like a lot of money. But imagine if you were so disciplined in your body and getting the sleep for the clarity and everything that you can do, there will be no cap on that 1 million. You can go as far as you want. But at the end of the day, you are, because I've had some of my clients that tell me, I'm in that $2 million bracket. I'm like, so do you want to be in a $10 million bracket, or are you okay with being in $2 million? Because if you are there, because if you got enough sleep, if you got enough the water that you need in your body to make you think clearly. And this was a client that was actually 400 pounds right before she was my client. Today, right now, she's toting 175. She hadn't got on a plane. She couldn't get, button a seatbelt. She hadn't got from behind the computer, so now her $2 million is up in the $6 million. I'm like, I need to change my invoice now, because now she's able to do and go all around the world just based on her discipline that she changed inside of her body. So I say to you that if you want to master your business better than you're doing, then yeah, you need to master your body, because again, it's like a catch-22. Robbie, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Meaning that you need to pull yourself away from that computer and eat lunch. You need to pull yourself away from that computer and work out for 30 minutes a day. I got one better. I got Plank Talk Nation. Do it for a minute. It's a start. You got to start somewhere, drinking the water. But the question that I want to leave you with, Robert, and I ask you, why aren't you, your whole body, your mind, your soul, why aren't you important enough to you to take better care of you than to take care of your business, or one better to take care of somebody else's business? That question still perplexes me to this day.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, I want you to answer. I got a pounder on that, because maybe this can help with the question. There was a study just came out recently, and it said you can teach an old dog new tricks. And I found this was so relevant now in this pandemic, as many people have found this is necessary for them to pivot. They're like, I can't go out here and start something different. I've been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years. But I'll jump to the bottom line that reason people, it's easier to teach a child than to teach an adult. But one of the things that keeps us back from learning is because the brain goes through this process where it releases a chemical called acetylcholine, achieved through deep rest.
Through deep rest.
So once again, deep rest. I said, man, Candice is gonna love this. Here are these people. Let me make it relevant here. These people out here who they're suffering. They're trying to get a new foothold in a new career, or they're trying to make their existing career survive the pandemic. They're spending all this time. They're up all night. They're drinking. They're smoking. But what they're failing to do, that the answer they need is actually free. It's available to all, and it's called rest.
Well, one of the things, let me just like I said, put on that therapist hat for a second, because when you're in that state of depression, so you are depressed if you're overeating, emotional eating, if you're smoking weed, if you're drinking, if you're consistently in front of Netflix all day and not doing anything, something has to snap you out of it. And it's generally you that has to snap you out of it. But one of the things is I'm saying that you got to really find your pleasure in your pain. So until you find your pleasure in your pain, you're not going to move. You're going to stay in that sedated space. And now let me make it relevant here. So at the end of the day, Robert, it is something that you want to do. And now you got to go deep inside your soul, because this is just some deep stuff, or you really have to get some help. You have to be able to wake up and say, you know what? I am jacked up. I haven't slept. All I do is eat. Like, I need some help. And you really have to reach out. Listen, you cannot help someone that does not want to help themselves. I don't care what you're doing. It is never going to happen. So you have to go deep inside yourself and say, you know what? I need some help. See, but most of the time we don't know what to do, but somebody in your circle know what to do. Now we are in your circle.
Somebody like Candice.
Yeah, if you're there. So you want to jump in and say, you know what? The same thing for my clients that was always in the gym. They was like, what am I going to do? Even for me, my gym closed down. What are you going to do? You're going to open up an online gym. I have a Sexy Fit and Well boutique online where you can still come into my gym virtually, and you can still work out with me one-on-one, or you can work out with me in a group. But at the end of the day, you still have to make the decision. Somewhere deep down inside of you, you and your God is going to have to be the one that's going to pull you up and make the call. See, nobody can make the call for you. See, because even in my line of business, I got tired of trying to guilt you, pull you, force you, throw you, lift you. No, ma'am. You have to decide this is something you want better for yourself. And knowing that, you know, we can go back to my grandmother, because all of us say we're going to do it tomorrow. We're going to get there tomorrow. We're going to do it next week. I'm going to get to it when I finish this. But my grandmother said, you know, tomorrow is a promissory note. Yesterday is a canceled check. All we have is a present right now, which is usable currency. And you got to decide, how are you going to use it? Are you going to get up from that TV, get up from the bed, go to sleep, do the things that you have to do so you can be better? But the question is, do you want better? And if you do, get up, make the call, and somebody, I will help you move into whatever it is that you want to move into. Am I a business coach? I am not. But one of the things I know for sure is that when you're better inside of your body, you make better business decisions. That's how that works.
You are 1,000% right. I say good morning to Brand Leader Models. She's over there giving her amens. That's a young lady also. She brought Candice into her world, and I know that she does the planks now. She does things. She went out and said, look, she embraces good information, and now she's all over the place. And she's on TV, she's doing runways, and somebody who decided to do something consistently. I mean, we have actually a post now of exactly how this is supposed to work. And I'm telling you, when people listen to this show, watch this show, from all over the world, like she's coming from North Carolina. We have people tuning in from Houston. We have people tuning in from Baltimore area. You have people from all over the country. Like you said, if you can't do it by yourself, you got to bring somebody into your world to kind of help you move along with. I'm gonna bring my other guest in before we go into the break here. Attorney Bradley Thomas over there. I see him over there. Like he's over there doing some amens and power fists.
That's right.
Hey, any comments on all this good stuff? Candice shared with us, Bradley.
Hey, she's on point. That's all I can say.
Amen, amen. Well, Candice, once again, I want you to hang around if you can. We're going to take a quick break and quickly tell folks again how they can find you, please.
Okay, you can find me. I'm at the Wellologist, of course, all social media platforms. Candice Camilla Wellologist. You can go to my page, like it, and get all kinds of information. You can reach out, go to my website, CandiceCamille.com, and get all the information about everything. You can also inbox me on any platform, and that's from LinkedIn to Instagram to Facebook, as what it is that I can be of service to help you with. Go to CandiceCamille.com and download your free smoothing ebook that'll get you started with your Eat Well process on it. That's my gift to everybody that answers here. It's up there for you to download it and just come on into our wellness revolution, because that's what I aim to do.
She hits that wellness from so many angles. I'm gonna ask you guys what I got you. I was on the pulpit a little early before you guys came on. And I was talking about the importance of communicating in the mode that people prefer to have their communication platform. I'm just going to ask you personally, Bradley, start with you. What is your preferred mode of communication?
I kind of prefer email.
Okay.
That way I can, if I don't see it immediately, I can check it and get back to it.
Okay.
People are always talking about my texting skills or lack thereof. And they'll say, I sent you a text 4 days ago and you just got back to me now. Say, sorry about that.
They probably should have emailed you, right? If they really wanted to reach you. Right. And see, I'm glad you tell. I mean, I kind of picked that up by my knowing you over the years, that usually I get a faster response when I emailed you. I rarely call you. Yeah. I rarely text you, because I know if I want to reach Bradley and get a response, I email him, and usually within the hour, if not sooner, I'm going to get a response. Yeah. What about you, Candice?
So immediate response for me is texting.
Okay.
But I to talk, and I'll tell you the immediate response to text, because as you can say, I can go on and on and on. So I'd rather for you to text me so we won't have a long drawn out conversation, so I can literally answer your question, but immediately response to the course of my day. Like Robert, you get me texting. Texting is one of the things we always have it. You know, we always have our phone. I can answer you quickly in texting versus talking to you or either emailing you, especially if I'm busy throughout the day.
And I'm going to tell you why this question was important. I want the audience to listen to this. I know that I did not take a cookie cutter approach to Bradley or Candice. No matter how I prefer to communicate, it was irrelevant to me. And Candice and Bradley both know now, just like Candice said, I text Candice when I want to reach her. Right. Even though I email Bradley when I want to reach him.
There you go.
I want you folks to soak that up for a minute.
There you go.
We have a test. We have a test tube case here of how it should work. I could sit here on my high horse and say, look, I like the DM. It's DM or no communication. Not one of these people said DM. Yeah. Not one of them said telephone. One said text, the other said email. But I do both. I text Candice, I email Bradley.
DM, doesn't that stand for District of Maryland?
We know we can't DD.
We don't DM Bradley.
Are you leaving the V out? Come on, you know.
But you
know anybody listening, do not DM Bradley.
Don't DM Bradley. But Robin, you're right. But it boils down to how do you communicate with people? Because in business, you have to learn all those communication factors and how do you work with people? Because again, if you want to work with Bradley, I know if I need information from him, don't make no sense. I can text and DM all day. I wouldn't DM, but I will text and say, you know what? But now I know that in order to get him, I need to email him with a response. And even for me, and learn how to meet people where they are, because that's what it is. That's basically at the bottom line. And like, I don't like to email, so hell, I hire an assistant and say, email Bradley back, right?
However you do it, right?
I'll get your text eventually now.
That's what I'm saying. I will email you. I know how to reach Robert. So it's a matter of however you have to do it, whether you're assistant or you doing or whatever. It's those communication factors that we have to be able to deal with in business. And with people in general. You know, I had to decide that I wanted to be a texter so I can talk to my grandchildren. So it made me a better texter, simply because I needed to jump in their world, right? And I figured, that's how you have to be able to jump into people's world that you want to deal with.
I'll tell you what, if you ever find yourself in jail and you need to get out, you better not be texting Bradley. You're going to be there for 4 days. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about good trouble. We're talking about March to the Polls. We're also going to finish up talking about competition. I'm going to leave you with one tip today as to why you might think that you're competing. You might think you're in the game, but you may have it all wrong because you don't know there's one little fact and it's killing you, particularly if you're a small business. Folks, you're listening to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in a moment.
Brad is an attorney, and some years ago he brought to our attention that the music that we had recorded back in the 70s that we lost control over because we were inexperienced.
Do you wanna dance? Do you wanna sing? Do you wanna shake?
right. Boy, love that music. Love that music. Love that 98.6 band. Now Bradley Thomas. Now you're talking about somebody who's not who doesn't fit the stuffed shirt stereotype. Bradley Thomas over there with his white shirt on and blue jacket. But back in the day, man, he was wearing a 10-inch afro playing a saxophone.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh boy. I tell you, man, it's amazing though how people evolve and become who they are. We never stop evolving. And like Candice said, what gets us to that change that we need, we have to be consistent at something. Sometimes it's something underlying, sometimes it's something that's on the surface, but you have to be consistent to get to where you make the kind of change that you want. Now, Bradley, quickly, he's already said he's an attorney. He's an intellectual property attorney operating in the D.C. area. You can go to his website, bradleythomaslaw.com. I know it'll also put it on the screen here. But tell us about Good Trouble. I know we had our good, our great leader, John Lewis, who passed away recently. That was one of his themes. His moniker was Good Trouble. Yes, and now we have an election coming up, and many people are still kind of deciding, they're dragging their feet. And whether, and you know, I don't like to turn no matter who you vote for, but just for Facebook's sake, you do need to get out here and vote for somebody. You can't complain about anything that's going on in this country if you have sat on the sideline. So tell us about your campaign coming up this next week, Bradley, please.
Well, I like to say, if you don't vote, you don't count.
Hey, amen.
So, yeah. Well,
wait,
so you know, you
don't let that digest. You have to let them get that because
yeah.
But the people in the back.
Exactly.
Say it again for the people in the back.
If you don't vote, you don't count. So anyway, you know, John Lewis, the late great civil rights icon, was beaten and almost killed in 1965 on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama. And on the 55th anniversary of that event, on March 1st of this year, 2020, John Lewis spoke at the commemoration, and he said this. He said, "Get in good trouble, necessary trouble, and redeem the soul of America."
Amen.
So it's that theme that the organization, the Transformative Justice Coalition, caught on to and started organizing these marches and motorcades in disadvantaged communities, Black and brown communities throughout the country, to get people motivated, to get them to the polls, and to get them to actually participate in that process of voting. So we have one scheduled for DC. Originally, it was scheduled for the Indigenous Peoples Day, formerly known as Columbus Day, last Monday. But because it rained all day, it was postponed, and it was reset for next Tuesday, October the 27th. The significance of that day is that is the first day of early voting in DC.
Okay.
And so the march and motorcade, and it's a march and a votercade, which is a play off the word motorcade, because some people may not want to or feel comfortable with walking or being in a crowd and that kind of thing, even though there's going to be social distancing for the march. But if you choose to, you can stay in your car and just ride along this route as a participant. But it's going to begin at the Commerce Heights Metro Station, which is 1300 Alabama Avenue Southeast. And it's going to wind through the neighborhood about 1 mile and wind up at the Entertainment and Sports Arena, where the Mystics play. Those two locations, the Metro Center, and the Sports Arena, are very close together. They're about maybe a block or two apart, but we have a route plan that takes you through the neighborhood so that people can see and get excited and come out. You know, it's being done in Congress Heights because that's in Ward 8, which is one of the traditionally lowest response areas in our city in terms of voter turnout. So we want to take it to where the people are and say, listen, you know, your vote counts, your voice matters. Come on out, participate. But we don't want just the Ward 8 people to be involved. We want people all over the metro area to come and join us, because this is a very important thing. It's a very important election. As Robert says, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. You know, I have my own preferences. I have my own feeling about what ought to happen in the election, but that's not what this is about. This is about participation, getting people fired up to come out. So it's called the John Lewis Good Trouble, Voter Awareness March and Votercade to the poll. Long name, but it just means come out, join in, march, bring your signs. We're going to have members of the faith community participating. We hope to have a roll call of churches and synagogues and mosques represented who will be there to lead, because I mean we have to put our faith into action, and voting is one way that we put our faith into action.
Absolutely.
Well, Bradley, I have noticed that over the years, and since I've known you, you've been very active in the political process. You've actually run for office a few times. Well, let me ask you this: tell me about the early voting and what's happening in the certain areas around the country. When can people vote? I mean, the area that you're familiar with.
Well, early voting started in some places as early as the middle of September. In fact, in Virginia, our neighboring state, early voting started, I believe, on September the 18th. And it is rolled out in different places across the country. DC is one of the last places to open early voting. We only have a 1 week period, and that is from October 27th through September 2nd, with the general election date being September 3rd. But turnout has been tremendous. States across the country are noting that early voting numbers have been anywhere from 3 to 10 times what they were this time 4 years ago. So a large numbers of people are voting early, and we want that to keep happening. We want to make sure that people participate. Now, I'll say one more thing about this John Lewis Good Trouble march and Votercade. It's being sponsored by the Washington Bar Association, which is the association of the DC Association of primarily African American attorneys, co-sponsored by the Washington Bar Association's Young Lawyer Division, which are lawyers under the age of 40, and several other organizations. Sigma Delta Tau, a legal fraternity, is one of them. The Transformative Justice Coalition is one. Even the Cochran Firm is co-sponsoring this event, along with quite a few other organizations. So it's a collaborative effort of a lot of groups. Again, we expect a number of churches and mosques and synagogues to also join in and participate. But we want everybody, because the idea is get all souls to the polls. And once again, I'm going to hit that theme that I always hit. If you don't vote, you don't count.
You don't count. If you don't vote, you don't count.
He get all souls to the polls, right? So he started this one.
Well, I think now I think it's important, and you can let me know if you agree, Candice and Bradley, that if you can vote early, please vote early, and don't wait until November 3rd to get to the polls, and then you got some surprise. Either your name on the register, or some type of who knows what's going out there. You want to go, if you can vote early, please go ahead and vote now if you can. Yeah,
because lines are going to be long. They're going to be long in early voting. They're going to be even longer on November 3rd. So get out there, vote early if you can. And if you have to stand in a long line, stand in a line. Bring a chair with you. Bring a snack with you. We can't be deferred by this, because one of the things that happens is normally if you've gone to vote at the polls, you'll notice that a lot of the volunteers who are working there are senior citizens. They're retired, they've got the time, and they'll be at the polls working. This year, though, because of COVID-19, a lot of seniors are opting out of doing that because they're protecting their health as they should be. So we need young people to be poll workers, but it also means that there are probably going to be fewer poll workers, which means longer lines and fewer open polling stations. So if you can vote early, vote early.
And that's if you haven't voted already, because you can also have your ballot they have boxes, ballot boxes all over your town. Yeah. So you don't even have to wait in line. So if you have to put in to get your ballot in the mail, this is something that has been ongoing. So when you're talking about being a participant in the things that you want to do, and it goes right back to Robert, like we said, if you're going to vote, you have to plan to do it, whether you have done it in the mail, if you're going to go out to early voting, which we highly recommend. I already voted. I mailed mine, walk to my box, because I need to make sure it get it done and it be counted. So at the end of the year, just like anything else, don't procrastinate and wait till the last minute, because anything can happen, especially if you have the time now. I always say, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and get it done, especially when it has been availed to us, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
In terms of the young people, Bradley, I wanted to get on with, because a lot of the millennials right now, I've talked to some young folks over, the last couple of things, and they're not gotten involved because they think that they don't count anyway. So I'm going to take your message back to them like
Yeah.
their vote don't count.
Yeah.
But as a way of saying that you do count,
Yeah.
you're saying you don't count, and that's what they think about you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's what you think about you.
Yeah.
So you can take that and go start to make the change for
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's a personal decision. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're standing on shoulders for people that fought for us and got in a whole lot of good trouble.
Yeah.
Got in
Good
a
trouble.
whole lot of good trouble. And some have lost their lives so we can have this privilege to vote. So how dare you not?
Exactly. I mean, if you don't vote, you're in essence voting for the people you don't want, because
Mm,
those who have a different point of view, they're going to vote. And if you don't vote to counter that, you've essentially voted for the other side, the other people that you don't want. So, I mean, whoever you're supporting, whoever it is, get out and cast your vote so that your voice is heard. And at this march and motorcade, incidentally, there will be an official drop box location at the end of the route at the sports arena, run by the DC the Board of Elections, so that people can bring their ballots. If they got those ballots in the mail, fill them out, and they can bring them with them, and they can drop them off at the end of the route at that location. And they will not have to worry about them being lost in the mail or anything like that, or delayed. They will be there because they would be the postal carrier who delivered them to the Board of Elections.
Well, let me tell you something. That is why you need to, every week, set your dial to the Marketing Pulpit TV show.
Oh, yeah.
We bring information that is pivotal for the uplifting of our community. We hit it from all different angles. We take a holistic approach. And I thank you again, Bradley. And before
Sure.
I get off the air, I promised everybody I was going to give you this one tip on competition. And I want you to think for a minute, because what's happening, folks, as we have to maneuver this pandemic, particularly small companies, you're being hit from so many angles, and some people have misled you to believe, like I said earlier, that you don't have to worry about the competition. And they keep comparing your business to a relay race. Like you can't focus on that person beside you, or that person in front of you, or the person behind you, because that's going to throw you off. But the difference is you can see that person in the relay race. You can see the one to the left, the right, behind, in front. But when you're in business, you don't know who that competition is. Yep. Unless you take this note. First of all, there is direct competition and there is indirect competition. Your biggest indirect competitor is the grocery store. If you're in the food industry, for instance, is the grocery stores and Walmart. You worrying about that little corner store. You worrying about this person over here, and you got a big $1 zillion Walmart sitting right across the street from you. If you are a graphic designer, your competition is not that little graphic design guy across the street. Your competition is Vista Print, 4M Print, these big BMS companies online that are selling all types of services. Those are your competitors. And here's a word I want everybody to remember. Remember this the rest of your life, as long as you're in business. It's called a phrase: freedom to abandon the market. It's a term that most small companies are not familiar with, but guys like myself who worked many years in corporate America, we know it quite well. If you're competing against somebody who has the freedom to abandon the market, you will never win a pricing contest with them, because they are selling a service that they can give away because they sell other products. Let's take an example. Let's say Candice is selling food, and she's competing against another food company that's selling the exact same food. But if that company is also selling cars and cosmetics, and they can give away that food to get you to buy the other products. I use my own company, for example. We sell domain names. A domain costs me about $10. Don't ever get into a pricing war with me over domains if that's all you're selling. I would give away a domain. I would give those away like business cards because I have the freedom to abandon the domain market if it got too tight. That brings up another term called loss leadership. Loss leader means that you give away certain products at a certain low price at a loss to bring that customer into your orbit. Unfortunately, many small companies have been led to believe that the lowest price is the best price, and that's the only product they're selling. They're selling hair products, for instance, and they say, I'm going to sell the lowest price. Well, first of all, that's going to be a losing proposition from the beginning because you don't control the source. But let's just use that example continually. But if you're selling hair products and somebody else is selling hair equipment, they're selling booth space, they can give away that product and put you out of business. So before you start worrying about your competition and worrying about, I'm going to lower my price again because I'm going to bring that customer in, and you have a competitor who has the ability to abandon the market, you will lose every time. Do not get in that fight unless you also have the ability to abandon the market. You have to build other barriers, other types of barriers to entry. You have to create other type of differentiators. You have to do things like be aggressive in advertising, offer service guarantees, use technology, increase distribution channels, use social proof, use other ways to compete against that competitor without getting into a price war that you are going to lose 99% of the time. That is my story today, and I'm sticking to it.
I have a question on it, and I know we have to go because, but as I'm listening to you, as it and when you're talking about the things that you have to do. So basically you're saying get better because it just to be very, very simple for those of us, that's out here that's in business, in small businesses and stuff. So what I'm hearing is you're saying you don't necessarily have to keep lowering your pricing. You have to get better in what it is that you have to offer and get it out there exposed to the world so you can better position yourself into getting your product across. Because I need simple stuff. So that's what I heard. I just wanted
That's exactly. That's exactly because let me tell you something, Candice, because I've been in this price war business before, and I realized that when I raised my price, I reached a different market who was interested in quality over price. That means I can raise my price again and not lose a single customer. I might pick up more customers because I got out of this price war that I could never win.
Right. But in order
Robert, I can tell you a story about that.
Please.
Years ago, when I first got into music, I was in a band then. It was before 98.6, and I was in high school at the time. And there was a Sunday school group that I used to participate in. Well, there was another guy in the group who was in a different band. Right. So the Sunday school group was going to do a dance, and they were looking to hire a band to do the dance. And they knew that the two of us had bands, and they said, "Well, what can you offer?" Well, the other guy said, "Well, my band can do this gig for $150." Now, this was back in the late '60s, early '70s. Right. I can do a band for $150. And I said, well, let's see. My band has 7 members. If we got $15 a piece, that's $105. We can do it for $105. Do you know that they decided they would go with the other guy because they said, well, your band charges more, so you must be a better band. So we'll go with you.
Boy, that is it, Bradley. That is it.
Again, I heard somebody say, if the prices is too low, like me myself. And I'm only speaking for myself. I don't want to be down there with the low-hanging fruit.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, there's so many people, that's out there to say, you know what, I really do want quality, over quantity, because at that point, when you think about it, when you hear your grandmother say, I would always go back to what she taught me that, if the price is too low and it sounds so good, she would be like, Red, turn and run the other way. It ain't right. Yep. So she wants you to think about it. So you have to think about it. Not to say that it's not, but it bears a thinking. And just like they said to you, Bradley, it's like, You know what? This dude said, I can do it for $150. I got it. Let's go. You like, okay, we got to depend on 6, 7 people to give us $15. We can do this for, $105. It's like, no, that's not good business. So his stuff is better because of the price. And it's sad to say that because it's all the time that's not necessarily true. But it makes you think about it that if I'm going to go out here and spend $100 on something, with this dude over here telling me he's gonna give me the same thing for $20, it literally makes you think about what it is where you want to do it. So that's Robert, that's on point because we all say that. I've been told over and over and over again, you need to lower your prices, especially in the wellness in the fitness arena, because you're competing with Planet Fitness. It's $10. You gotta lower your prices. I was like, I'm not looking for $10 people.
Yeah,
so,
you're gonna get $10 people.
Yep.
Hey, look, this is the last story. When I first got into the web business, I was driving home to see my mom on Christmas like I normally do. That's when I do most of my thinking. And I just heard about the web. This company upstairs in my building was doing the web. And they were doing a terrible job of just messing up people's websites. So I came back and ran an ad in the Washington Post, and I ran an ad called the $100 web page. Bradley and Candice, the phones lit up. They just rang off the hook. And so, but guess what? I got so many calls that I couldn't handle all the business. So what I did, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to raise the price and stop some of this madness of these people calling me. So I went from $100 to like $300. And guess what happened? The phones rang even more. Because there were a certain number of people that said, you can't do a website for $100. Something must be wrong with it.
Yep.
So when I raised the price, I hit a different market and a bigger market because the perception was that now I can have more quality than I did when I was at $100. So my closing case argument is that, folks, when you're in the competition game, you've got to do a little more thinking and stop just telling you not doing what everybody tells you to do, because most folks that are giving you advice, they mean well, but they are not business owners, and many of them are definitely not marketing strategists. I've been doing this for 30 years. And let me tell you, folks, I'm not going to tell you something I haven't done myself or don't recommend doing for myself. Don't get into these price wars. Now, I'm not saying don't every now and then have a sale. And even if you got to do it, folks, let's say you got to come out one day and you're really trying to get people to try the product. If you got to go low, call it a special. That's not your regular price. Have a special. You can have a every week, but maintain your price to look like you have quality. And you will see a difference overnight in your competition game. Don't get in these price wars with people who have the ability to abandon the market. You will lose every time. Folks, that's going to wrap up the show today. I'm going to thank my special co-host, Candice Camille. I'll see her back again on the 4th Friday of the month. And Bradley, you're always welcome. Bradley's one of my biggest fans. I'm a fan of his. We've been knowing each other. We go back. We have so many things in common besides blue jackets and white shirts. We actually also former band members. I was actually in a band myself, coming with my brothers and I. So I just like to be around good, positive people who are out here doing things right for our community. Thanks again, Maria Thorpe, who's saying she's also giving us her amen over, and everybody who's tuning in on the internet, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also, folks, go to marketingpulpit.com, like us, follow us, and support our sponsors. Support Candice, support Bradley. Go ahead.
Rob, one more thing, Kid, if I can, I'd like to send you the flyer for the march so that people are interested, they'll have it on your website and they can
Please,
get the information.
I'll put it up today.
Okay, I'll
go
send
to
that.
marketingpulpit.com and we'll have the information for the march on the website. Folks, let's get out here and be active. Let's go out here and vote. If you know anybody who needs help get into the polls, help them get there. Come to this march that Bradley's having. Support our sponsors, Candice, Bradley, BLE, B&B Cleaning, L. Riggs and Associates, 98.6 Band. Thank you again, and thank you, Gerald. He saves another awesome program, and thank you, folks. So we'll be back next week at the same time. Thank you again for listening to the Marketing Pulpit TV show, and go out here, folks, and vote. vote, vote, vote. And thanks again. Go to marketingpulpit.com and we'll see you next week at the same time.
Rayford Lee Brown Sr. I am the owner and founder of B&B Cleaning Services, LLC. We are a janitorial floor cleaning and property maintenance business.